All right. Ladies and gentlemen, dear panelists and fellow enthusiasts, both those who are watching us on the live stream and those who are physically here in Hub in Bratislava, attending the All About NFT event, which is a part of Invest Summit hosted by Tech Events. Welcome to this captivating panel discussion on NFTs. Today, we gather here to explore the incredible impact of this technology that has transformed the way we interact with digital assets. My name is Viktor Feťko, and as the moderator, I'm super excited to guide our panelists and all of you through a journey of discovering the uncharted territories of NFTs. Let me introduce our panelists, who are all known for their experience in this area. Slavomír Hazucha, Head of Business Development at Artzenal. Slavomír, you can introduce yourself in more detail.
Yeah, hello, welcome. So pretty much Head of Business Development of Artzenal. Artzenal being a company which engages in the creation of digital art, particularly through the process of 3D digitization. So basically at Artzenal we scan and digitize objects from the real world and make them digital copies. So this ties into the NFT field because this kind of super high detailed digital twins of real world object, be it art or be it a capture of a moment, we'll talk about later. It's pretty much a very good eligible content for NFTs. So that's my background here.
Thank you. Jan Zibner, CLO and co-founder of Artiffine.
Hello from me as well, and welcome to our panel discussion. I'm from creative studio Artiffine from the Czech Republic. We are from Brno, where we actually try to deliver, I would say, complex solutions for brands as well as artists, galleries, etc. in Web3 ecosystem. We try to build legal solutions for them as well as development and ideation, and I would say basically whatever they need in this ecosystem, we try to help them. So that's my role, and I'm happy to discuss it.
Thank you. David Achberger, CMO at QORPO.
Thank you. So, hello everyone, we're glad to be here. So, I'm the CMO of QORPO Game Studio. We are a Bratislava-based gaming studio that really focus on implementing NFTs, NFT technology into the gaming sector. And we also have our own VC fund that consists of doing several investments, including the NFT assets and different types of alternative investments. That's for me.
Thank you. David Iskander, co-founder of MetaPlayers.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is David Iskander from Hungary. I'm a Web3 entrepreneur, co-founder of MetaPlayers. It's a Web2 and Web3 esports and gaming platform with an own cryptocurrency, and also an owner of the agency which is focused on NFT and real-world tokenization. Mostly, we are creating a platform for real estate assets. It's under development, but it's going good.
Thank you. And finally, Robert Kalmár, tax manager at VGD Slovakia.
Thank you. I'm from VGD Slovakia. We are a consulting company, and we tried to find the place for NFT in a field of taxation and accounting. So it is something like pioneer work, but we done it, and I will talk about these matters like taxation and accounting.
Thank you. This panel discussion is a part of All About NFT project. As you may know, the main aim of this project is to provide countless content creators, collectors and artists with some information about the NFTs and digital ownership from legal, technical, and business point of view. It would certainly not be possible to provide such information without expert knowledge from each relevant field. Therefore, allow me to quickly thank to the project partners, who are Hronček Partners, Slovak law firm, Malecký, Pluta, Dorivalský, and Wegner, Polish law firm, VGD Slovakia, VGD Czech Republic, VGD Hungary, Artzenal, Blockchain Slovakia, and Innovato Cluster. This project is also co-funded by Vyšehrad Fund, and last but not least, special thanks to Tech Events, the host of today's Invest Summit. So today we will dive into the possible implication of NFTs across various industries such as art, collectibles, gaming, and beyond. Throughout our time together, my aim is to foster an open, dynamic, and inclusive conversation, encourages the exchange of diverse perspective. My first question is to each of our panelists is rather philosophical, and it's what does the NFT as a concept of NFT bring us? Like from my perspective, is the concept of digital ownership. If we think of let's say securities as a part of one kind of financial instrument, which is the main or one of the main investment assets. Securities back in the days were really just a paper, and the ownership to the security was the ownership of the security was either by the name written on the paper or by the person who was holding the paper. After so-called immobilization of securities, the papers were placed into some to some custody, and after the dematerialization of securities, it's only some evidence. So the securities do not physically exist, but this ownership of securities is guaranteed by some certain by some central authority, central securities depository, while for the NFTs this digital ownership is not authorized by some central authority, and this is something that was not broadly adopted until the recent days. So, Slavomír, what does the NFT as a concept bring to us from your point of view?
Well, definitely the ownership aspect is very clear, and it's very interesting, this transformation from something which is generally viewable and available digitally online, like let's say pictures, like the typical NFT in most people's mind, I think would be a questionable quality JPEG, which is not always the case, but yeah, now you can own these things through this NFT and blockchain technology. But I think the ownership alone is not really carrying the market, and it has to be in other fields like utility, usability, like the NFT not only being owned but also being usable and empowering the owner to use it, be it in a metaverse or a gaming or other fields which can be incorporated digitally. And then it's also the transferability, like never before it was possible to own an artwork and buy it and transfer it within 5 minutes. So it's an exciting new view at both ownership and usability of assets one owns.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree, and let me follow on that. I totally agree, and I love this idea of digital ownership, and I think that it's a good use case for the NFTs in general, but I think that it's important to actually do this bipartition based on usage of NFTs, because if we are talking about securities, I'd like to say that not all NFTs need to be securities, because it really depends on what you are doing with NFTs and what is the purpose of them actually. Because if, for example, you are using them as brand for just your buyers, and your users, it's, I would say, just a digital asset on some position, same as something other like ebook or something like this, only for, like, I would say, consumer enjoyment or something like this. And that in that case, I really wouldn't agree that it needs to be security, because this nature of NFT is kind of different. And in this area, what I see from my experience with brands actually is that they are using it for helping their brand awareness, and they are using it as the next stream of revenues and for interacting with their users and buyers and for helping them actually with marketing and so on. So I would say it's a nice digital asset which can help to explore brands' other area where they can realize their activities.
Yes, definitely. My apologies if I wasn't clear, but I didn't try to connect the securities and NFTs. I tried to explain that securities as one digital assets, as there are many of them are no longer in form of some paper. The ownership to this digital asset is granted by some certain central authority, the central securities depository. But for the NFTs, there is no such central authority which verifies the ownership of these digital assets. And NFTs are, let's say, a general asset, not like securities which are specified by some law. So this is really the new aspect for me in this question. Thank you, David.
Maybe I can continue this one. So I would focus on NFTs more from commercial use and commercial aspect. As was said, we have the gaming studio, so we use NFTs or implement the NFT technology into all digital assets. So for me, it's giving some physical attributes to the digital things, basically. And what it means that the scarcity is rising of these assets, and we probably know that who is the owner, the real owner. So I would say really on a basic level or simple level to giving physical assets to the digital assets.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can just follow up the guys. So there is two main things: proof of ownership and scarcity. Scarcity comes from that every NFT is unique. It gives the value. In the last years, we can see most of the NFTs was based on flipping, so they were based on speculation. So I thought this art is, oh, this will go up, I buy it. But I think to improve the space, we really need good utilities, which a lot of companies this year are coming out with. And my main aspect is the tokenization. So I think the next big thing will be with the real-world assets. That's like copying the digital version of real-world assets. I think that will be the big leap, the big hype that this space needs.
Thank you. For us, my colleagues, is NFT for the first time when we try to analyze the taxation or accounting things was something like new digital asset, and you can have in this digital form everything as told my colleagues before. So for us, it is something new. But you can use it in a lot of ways. For example, in the same ways like the classical assets. So it is about the ownership, unique ownership, and you need only think about what is the main not only form, but what is behind this digital asset.
Thank you. So this was the let's say conceptual question and aspects of NFTs. For better understanding, we shall go through some categorization of NFTs. So my next question is, what are some basic types of NFTs, and in which form the NFTs can be? This question is probably for the David first.
Which types of NFTs?
Some basic categorization.
Yeah, so I would say that right now the most popular type of NFTs are EVM compatible, so based on Ethereum chain, and they have some features they include, but I'm not sure where I'm going for with the types of NFTs. So you mean the contracts, or what are the utilities?
You can say about whatever categorization you want, and the other panelists will add on.
Maybe you can go ahead and I can continue after. If you have something on mind, but
yeah. So okay. So from my point of view, yeah, this is very interesting topic, because again, yeah, you can take different categories. Like you can discuss technically what are the types of NFT. You can discuss content-wise, and you can discuss function-wise. So maybe I'll have a look at the content-wise, and then someone more technical can take the other topics. So content-wise, at least my perception is that the most common is an general art NFT. Usually in a form of some static digital artwork, but there are also media type NFTs ranging from static media, videos, these things, to dynamic media, interactive NFTs, and then there are functional NFTs like game content, which is really exciting because a couple of years ago, when you were investing in game content, it was a one-way street. You were buying and buying and buying and extending your game. not really with any hope to monetize that again and get that money back. And with making game content NFTs, it, at least theoretically, is possible to invest into a game, and then when you are finished and want to move on, to sell out most of your game content in the form of NFTs, and if things go good, you can even make money on that. So content-wise, it's almost anything which is completely capturable digitally. Sometimes it's even hybrid in NFTs, which have a digital and physical or a digital and utility component, and it's a very wide and growing field, appealing to many potential target groups.
Thank you. Jan, if you want to add something.
Okay, all the eyes are on me right now. So I can continue maybe with the function or purpose division of NFTs, because I'm definitely not the right guy for technical discussions. So what I said already is that the big partition for NFTs as securities and NFTs as just digital asset for consumer enjoyment, because we were building this project for one brand which wanted to actually use NFTs for sharing the revenues with the users, with the buyers, and so on. And it needs to be covered from all these positions like regulation of financial market, and it basically ended up with discussions with Czech National Bank on how to do it, what is the best way, and so on. And I think there are questions in next minutes which we will focus on much better. But on the other hand, what we are doing the most is actually building the projects with NFTs just for this consumer usage, where actually these financial market regulations and all these brutal public law regulations actually is kind of aside, because it's totally same as, for example, if you are buying just some picture on some e-shop, you know, so you are using just different kind of technology, but it has no sense to actually differentiate between them just because they are or they are not on blockchain. So there are just, I would say, weaker contractual party regulations, you know, you need to build some terms and conditions because there is this strong consumer role and so on. So this is my favorite division for securities and non-securities NFTs.
Thank you.
Maybe I can continue from the consumer perspective. So as we see the virtual worlds and gaming, as we said already from the content-wise, is really taking off, and we see a lot more people getting into the, let's say, the metaverse and buying the digital assets as they are. And in gaming, it's really a nice example. I think the gaming will be in the forefront of bringing NFT technology to the masses, because we see the numbers are still rising, a lot of more players getting in. And with the technical advancements, as we saw last week, on VDC, what Apple just brought with the Vision Pro, I can tell that Metaverse will be a big thing in the next 5 years, probably, when also the businesses and normal people will move to this kind of new world, let's say. So from the consumer perspective and gaming perspective, what we see that people are spending a lot more time in these virtual worlds, and it won't be different. And as was already said, they are just the consumers are just funneling the money to the black hole, so you cannot take anything out when you spend it. GTA 5 is a good example. It's the game that that is running for already 10 years, and there's a big economic going on in the GTA 5, and it went from really chaotic virtual world where you can do anything with the NPCs to the multiplayer mode when the players meet in one place and they play the roles of normal people, of normal work, basically. So they changed the whole narrative of the game, and the economy is really working there. Everybody play their part in this world, and what we see already, what comes out through the news about GTA 6, for example, that's a really good example. They are already implementing some kind of currency, digital currency, that could be sent to different users in the game, different players, and can be interchanged via fiat. So you can put the money in game, you can buy some digital collectibles, digital stuff. They give you some advantages in the virtual world, but in the means of user, for the user that really spending a lot of time in game, it's the same as in the real world. So he could choose buying the digital assets is more beneficial for him than buying, I don't know, some physical assets in the real world, because he spends much more time in the digital world. And right now, if it's interchangeable with the fiat, you are not funneling the money to the black hole, and when the basically game is done, your money is already wasted. You can take it out, you can sell it, you can sell your whole profile in some cases. Basically, this was black market for several years, like big MMORPGs are selling assets that are not NFTs for millions of dollars still. And right now, NFT will change the game a lot. It will change the game, and it will change how we think of digital or buying something in the digital space. You won't see it as I wasted, I don't know, $10 or $100. I will see it, I put money there. It can go up in value through some time. It can go down in value, but I won't lose it straight away as I purchase it. So I think gaming is the will be really nice implementation of the NFT technology. I think it will come first, and the general public will learn this way how the NFTs should be operated.
Thank you.
I can just agree. So what he just said is totally right, because I can say one game, World of Warcraft, there was a big market where people constantly selling their accounts, golds and everything in a black market, and like the publisher could not do anything about it, and now like they are making it legal, so you can sell it as an NFT, selling as a token. So it's some kind of improvement in monetizing gaming assets or game kind of things. In the function part, I would add that in the last years it would art and gaming. These two sector was the main purpose of NFTs, or the highest level of NFTs. And now I see like a lot of new sectors coming in, like financial. They are trying to tokenize bonds, let's say. I think 2 weeks from now, Hong Kong made the first tokenized bonds. The other one is like loyalty programs. I see a lot of new loyalty programs connected with NFTs, and also like tickets. So like going to a concert, going like this kind of events in the future, I am totally sure there will be most likely only NFT tickets, because you can store it, you can showcase it, you can do a lot of stuff. I think this free sector is coming up. And just to add some technical stuff to the conversation, I think the EVM compatible is the most common, and in that case, ERC 721 is the most common. Most probably everyone uses this. And there is one really new protocol in the EVM. It's called ERC 6551. In this case, your NFT became a crypto wallet. So from now on, you can connect your CryptoPunk, and your CryptoPunk will be your crypto wallet. So you can upgrade it, monetize it, you can do a lot of interesting things. It's still under the softwares, and the development is still ongoing, but the tests went out, and I think it will be really, really interesting in the upcoming years.
Thank you. Robert, do you want to add? All right. So now we understand the essence of NFTs and the basic categorization on NFTs. So the really natural question is how can you create an NFTs? And this is closely connected with another part of All About NFT project. And Slavomír can talk more about this.
Okay, so I will cover one particular way of creating NFTs, because again, there's a lot of ways how NFTs can be created. But what we basically do at Artzenal, and which is definitely one way, is to create NFTs by digitizing real-world assets. So first, as a short introduction, I can show some examples. So the first pictures, please. Yeah. So that's a good example of what we do. We work with motorsport teams, and we digitize cars after races. The point there being that, of course, you can create a digital car, and in every racing game you have a digital car, so it's kind of pointless to do that and declare it as an NFT technically you could, but yeah, questionable point in that. But what we do is sort of add the capture the moment idea to this, that we capture a specific car, one-off car in a special moment in time. So maybe the next picture. Yeah.
Will you get the car after you buy it?
Yeah, you have to pay on top a little bit, but yeah, sure. Yeah, so for example, race winners. Usually these cars are after the race and after the moment of victory, they are washed and brought to the next race and so on. And this is a way to capture a moment which will get lost in the physical world. So it adds value. The initial value is basically this digital twin and the creation of the digital copy. And then there is the context value, that it's a single opportunity to own a digital car in a way that the physical car cannot even be owned, because the physical car has moved on. It has raced again, and it looks differently now. So that's a point of view we try to do and find in creation of our NFTs, to look for real-world assets which are worthwhile capturing. Obviously, sport is excellent because it creates its own moments, so it's really easy to tie into that. But another aspect is art, particularly art which is curated by major institutions and which is never going to be sold, like exhibits of famous museums, digital culture and stuff like that. There's a major upcoming project we are aiming to do this year with some Austrian institutions in this field. And actually, yeah, for this event, we had a cooperation where we wanted to do this time capsule moment. So the next picture, yeah. So we had an idea together with the organizers to create a unique NFT, and we chose a tree because, yeah, it stands there, probably looking pretty much the same now as it did in March when we digitized it, but in 10 years it will be different, and in 100 years it will not be there. So what we did, one more picture please, this is the digitized data from the tree. So we did a complete super high detail 3D copy of this tree, and we are going to proceed to mint it as an NFT. We're still discussing the going to market exact details. So Q3 this year it will be released, and it's a time capsule showing an object which is definitely bound to go. It will look different, and at some point it will not be here at all. And making this an NFT is sort of a demonstration of what this entire mechanics of creating digital data, minting it, making it ownable, making it purchasable, making it unique and legally protected means. So that's one of the things we do and our approach to NFTs. There's many other approaches, but this is ours.
If anyone wants to add on this.
Maybe I would just jump into the discussion. We were just talking with the colleagues. That's why I was asking if you get the car at the end when you buy the NFT, because that's really intriguing to me. That the real purpose, I think, in the future for NFTs is really to prove of ownership, as was said. So whichever wallet currently hold the NFT is the true owner of the either physical stuff or digital stuff, right? But we were talking, maybe the car market would be a nice start. In America, it works a little bit differently. When you are selling the car, you just prepare the papers, and most of the people can go away with the car and register it under the name in another state. In Slovakia, there are different laws that need to be followed, so it needs to be unregistered, registered after. But you can have problems when you buy a car and the person won't unregister the car. I was in this hassle like 3 years ago, and I was fighting with a guy I bought the car in. But with the NFT, it will be great. When you will use the smart contract as the function, you will put the NFT there, and after the payment is received in the smart contract, it works like escrow basically. I get an NFT that I'm the owner of the car, the seller get the money, everybody happy, and it's really fast, transparent, and transparency of blockchain is the biggest thing, so everybody can see I'm the real owner of the car after the transaction went right, really fast. There is no need for any registration or the hassle of of this stuff of registering, etc. I think this would be a good start, but somebody, of course, needs to start with it, and the laws need to regulate it in a way it's safe, of course, because somebody, I don't know, can point the gun on your head and tell you to sell to send him the NFT, of course. That happened in the 90s, but I think this is the way for the future and how it should go. Maybe start with the small things, like not the car, but I don't know, some physical assets. Maybe the art is also a good idea, and then go ahead with some bigger stuff like cars, and of course the real estate market is really intriguing. So I'm looking forward to what David is going to say about this.
Just a question, was this published somewhere, this NFT of this tree?
The tree, not yet. We did a couple of sales with the cars, and the tree is coming in Q3 this year.
Oh, because I was pretty sure I've seen this picture somewhere, but okay.
No, the tree, this is actually, for the tree is the first time here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
Maybe just my dreams, okay.
Yeah, we just made them yesterday in our software.
All right. So just back to the...
Sorry to interrupt, maybe this was the scenario of right-click and save as, which you just see in the pirated version of this.
Yeah. Yeah, so back to the question, so how we can create NFTs. So there are different tools. Maybe the easiest way is to go to OpenSea.io. You can go create your music NFT, you can upload it and just mint it. So there is really user-friendly, easy tools to create your own NFT. If you would like to be more professional, you would like to make a collection with details, and you would make more valuable stuffs, probably you go to an agency with your company or with your project and ask them what's the best way, what they suggest, and they will have pretty good and I think wild ideas how you can monetize the money in your NFT collections. And I see a lot of companies coming to us nowadays that they would enter the market with different kind of ideas, and this is giving them a really good edge against their competitors, and also giving a really good outlook, like they became a really innovative company when they give out like a limited edition, I don't know, 50 bottle of wines, let's say. So you can make a 50 bottle, just a special limited edition NFT. That's giving like a winery a real good edge against other wineries. So I think this is one good aspect as well. And for the tokenization, I think the legislation with this is like a bit gray yet, so it's really hard to do, but in every country it's different. But now we think we found a really good way to tokenize it, and making just a bit more expensive. And when you do it, you bring in a lot of new liquidity, so you can make your real estate like for 10,000 token, and you can sell it for smaller investors. Maybe you can be an investor in a mall or some bigger stuff. So there is real good stuffs coming. But the really hard problem still is the jurisdiction and the legislation. So we are really hoping that it's coming soon.
Anyone wants to add on this question? No one was okay. So as David mentioned, it really depends on the jurisdiction and on the legal legislative environment, and this is connected with the question: how is this created NFT legally qualified? In Slovak Republic, NFTs and crypto assets as such are not things in legal sense, as the thing is only material things. So as the NFTs and crypto assets have no material essence, they are not qualified as things in a legal sense. The same principle applies in Poland. Hungary as well. This is a new information for me in Poland, and I think in the Russian Federation. These are the states in Europe, and I don't know whether I mentioned Netherlands as well, where the NFTs and crypto assets are not a thing in a legal sense. In the Slovak Republic, they're qualified as other assets. I can't remember in English, excuse me. But in Czech Republic, Jan, does the NFTs qualify as a thing in legal sense, or do they have some other legal qualification?
Actually, it depends. The short answer is yes. It can be qualified as a thing, but the more difficult answer is that it can be qualified as a thing, because there is a lot of opinions as well as a lot of legislations which is applied to NFTs and to this package of NFTs plus this digital asset connected to NFT and the utility and so on. And it's kind of interesting to actually see how the ecosystem behaves and how it reacts to this lack of regulation and to the lack of regulation tendencies. Because, for example, when I was discussing these questions with the guys from Czech National Bank as well as from the Office of Financial Arbitrator, they basically said that nothing crypto-related and cryptocurrency, for example, is not currency at all, for example. And I think it's so obvious that if it's used as a financial instrument, if the purpose is the same, it should be currency, basically. It should be financial instrument. But they just try to, I would say, kind of avoid the responsibility for solving any kind of issue in this sense. And when I was discussing with them the nature of NFTs, they were like, yeah, it can be a thing. I would say so, because the legislation basically is defining the thing that it can be material as well as immaterial. And on the other hand, they say that we actually think that it may not be a thing, but because it's kind of specific, it's a kind of new technology and so on. But the contra-argument to that would be like, hey, the law should stay technologically neutral. So just because it's new kind of technology, as for example AI was a few years ago, it doesn't matter that the defining of this thing should be different. So I think, yes, it is a thing, and I'm totally pro thing guy, and I think that the regulation of NFTs as a thing is much usable for the regulation framework than just to pretend that it's not a thing, but it's not, I would say, the unified opinion in the Czech ecosystem. The next thing which I would like to point out is actually that, as you said, it's not the same case in every nation within the European Union. So if we want to prepare some legislation for it on some European level or on some global level, it's really, really difficult. So when we try to build some project which has global impact, we need to do it just on some unified standards, and just on some general terms, because we kind of rely on the people actually doing what they can with that within their own legal ecosystem, within their legal national frameworks. So yeah, it's kind of difficult.
Yes, exactly. As you mentioned regarding the currencies, in the Slovak Republic, nothing except for the fiat currency can be declared a currency, can't be called a coin, money, or currency as such. This is stated in Act on the National Bank of Slovak Republic. So you legally cannot call Bitcoin a currency. You can't call something a coin.
And it's kind of funny because, for example, when you have some consumer issues with cryptocurrency, what you can use if you have issues with currency itself in the Czech Republic is the help of financial arbitrator. It can guide you for free. But if you will file any complaint towards financial arbitrator in the Czech Republic, they will just dismiss it because it's crypto and crypto is not currency. So when I was talking to these guys from this office, they were like, hey, the next option for you is actually to file a complaint toward this Czech Commerce Chamber and Inspection, and they will help you. And there was this guy in the panel discussion who was like, oh, really? I'm from the Czech Commerce Chamber and Inspection, and we have this totally same binding opinion that anything crypto related is totally out of our scope to help. So I was like, okay, so when consumer has any issue like whatsoever in crypto world, what can he do? And they were like, they can do a lot of stuff, but definitely not with us. So I was like, yeah, okay, nice.
Yes, in Slovak Republic, the Slovak business, Slovenská obchodná inšpekcia, Slovak Commerce Inspection is a competent authority for everything that is not regulated by other authorities. So as long as the cryptocurrencies are not regulated by, let's say, National Bank of Slovak Republic or other competent authority, so it falls within their competence. But it's the same. It was the same issue here, and I don't want to go beyond the topic of NFTs, but we talked about securities before, and before the DLT market infrastructures regulation was adopted, there was no constant opinion in the Slovak Republic whether the tokenized securities are securities, because in our act on securities there is stated that the securities are only those that are made in the form according to this act. And
it's the same in Czech.
And this form can be either on paper or in a central securities depository. And my opinion is that if some security is issued in other form, not in paper or in central securities depository in their evidence, this is not a valid issuance from my point of view, because if this isn't qualified as a security, none of the consumer protection rules will apply on the financial consumer protection rules will apply on this asset. So this was the question from National Bank of Slovak Republic. They will say it's not a security, therefore we are not competent in this area. From the other side, they will say, okay, it can be classified as a security, or it is not a valid issuance, so it's not our issue. So this is really a question for longer discussion, but we have to go back to our NFT topic. And we continue with the legal question. Is there a need to proactively do something in order to protect the rights associated with the created NFTs? Jan, this is a question for you.
Maybe before answering this question, actually, I was seeing the...
sorry, I missed it.
Yes, thank you. I would like to tell something about, compare the Czech and Slovak legislation in a field of accounting and taxation. In the Czech Republic, the cryptocurrencies are not currencies, you told, but they're accounted as a stock. As a current asset, but in Slovakia we have different approach, and for Slovak accounting, the cryptocurrencies are other financial assets. So something similar to currencies or financial things. And also in the field of taxation, the cryptocurrency is called cryptocurrency. It is not something special, but the definition isn't there. What is the cryptocurrency? But we use this word as a cryptocurrency. So NFT is not the cryptocurrency for these purposes, but I wanted to point it out, the difference in two states. In Czech Republic, legislation is rather far from what is the crypto, and in Slovakia we don't have problem to use the word crypto. So. But it's still something what is on the way to be regulated. But NFT are only something new. So we don't have word NFT in any type of legislation for accounting or for taxation.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert.
Just one thought. I wanted to add that these national banks will have a really hard time when they would like to issue a central bank digital currency, because that's their purpose, I think, in the upcoming years. And when they say, okay, crypto is bad and these digital currencies is not a thing, then when they would like to have their hand on it, it will be a really hard time for them to tell the people that, okay, we are issuing this. Just
Yeah,
this.
definitely. And just for information, there is this statement of Czech National Bank when they say basically, hey, crypto is something we don't regulate, which means we don't know how, but be aware it can be kind of shady business. So it's like the approach of Czech National Bank for crypto, as well as, for example, participations, etc.
Yes, I understand. Back to the questions, is there anything you need to do in order to protect the rights associated with the created NFT from the intellectual property?
Yeah, thank you for this question. I think it's really difficult question, because there is a lot of levels and a lot of agenda which can and which needs to be solved when preparing NFT project. From the high level perspective, blockchain is still understood as being, I would say, new and progressive technology, which leads to discussions and argumentations if and what in what range actually to apply the regulation of non-technological activities, like if use the regulation of financial markets limitations, etc. Just because there is this specific regulation, as I said it before, and the law just needs to stay technologically neutral, it means that we need to apply the norms of legislation in the same range as we would apply them for any other, I would say, e-commerce solution, etc. So basically what you need to solve, what you need to settle with is like basic consumer protection, etc. You need to prepare some inner legislation for the project themselves, because for brands, what is the most harmful way of using blockchain is that basically they lack any legal protection, any legal certainty, so they are forced to prepare their own legal ecosystem around the project. So they are preparing these monstrous terms and conditions and so on, when they need to find some compromise in these questions of consumer protection, etc. But then there is, for example, this chapter of IP regulation and IP protection, because all these NFT-related agenda like graphics and videos, and 3D models and so on are copyrighted works, so they can be protected by copyright. They can be, for example, registered as trademarks. So I would say in general that there are no differences between doing crypto project and doing any other project without crypto. You just need to understand that these are aspects which need to be protected in maybe kind of special way, because, for example, if you are buying something from typical e-commerce solution and you are a consumer, you have this right to actually turn it back in 14 days without giving them any reason, right? That's like across the European Union. Just imagine the situation when you buy NFT and you will try to turn it back in 14 days without any reason. It's just not possible technically. It just makes no sense at all. But if we are saying that this technology is no different as any other technology, then you should still have the right to turn it back. But it's not possible, so you need to find some compromise. And I'm kind of worried of the situation when anyone would file a complaint or a lawsuit that, for example, brands didn't accept their turning back. So I think it's kind of difficult to actually prepare some legal solution for the projects. But on the other hand, I kind of see that the brands are using the same strategies and the same scenarios. We are trying to help them to build, I would say, kind of unified legal solutions for them. So one day, hopefully, it will be settled, and I'm really looking forward to it. So if I would turn back to the beginning of my answer, there is no special way of how to deal with the regulation when you are building crypto stuff, but it needs to be understood to be kind of specific, so you need to find some compromise in that.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I can imagine we can go on with this discussion for a very long time, but we are quite in a time pressure now, so we have to proceed a bit more quickly. Let's say we now understand the essence of NFTs, how it can be the basics of legal qualification, the accounting, and we have created the NFTs. Now, what can we do to boost the value of this created NFT before we will monetize it? This is a question for everyone. Brief answers, please.
Yeah, all right. So from my perspective, the very straightforward and simplest way is actually really anchor the value to existing value chains, which in the cases I showed is tying the values to values in the real world. You can tie it to values in the digital world through tying it into digital products and having utilities and values there. Yeah, and also the matter of value of the NFT is how you actually mint it, on what blockchain you mint it, and on what currency. So there's multiple approaches to boost value, but staying in my field, which is the value of the actual NFT product, you can add technical quality as a potential value building component, which we try to do through these meticulous, super detailed scans. You can add legal quality, additional legal quality besides what we discussed through ascertaining certificates of originality, certificates of the numbers which will be emitted, and also tying it to authors and institutions and basically creating a claim that this is not just some set of digital data, but it has an origin and it has a value which basically sourced from the real world. So that's one angle how value in NFTs can be sort of anchored in the consideration how much is this actually worth.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just in 2 words, added value. You know, that's like the thing you need to do for increasing the value of NFTs, basically.
Yeah, I also agree with everything that's been already said, but the utilities really add the value. So you can pack your NFT with any high fidelity and visuals, graphics, music, whatever you want. But at the end of the day, CryptoPunks is just 8-bit picture, and it's all selling for 100K, right? So the market will choose where is the value.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would simplify it and I just say build community. So community around NFTs is one of the most important things, because if you have like-minded people who think the same about your collection or your idea or project, then you will have supporters, and then your way is way easier and they will support your vision as well.
Thank you. Right, and if we look at this question from the other side, vice versa, can I use NFT to boost the value of my other content or my brand? Some quick ideas.
Yeah, I think definitely. It was said several times through this added functionality, added utility, intercontextuality, you definitely can, because you can have digital functions on physical or brand value items, which is a new world, and if it's done well, it totally can boost the value.
Yes, it was already said, and I totally agree. These NFTs can be used, and I'm speaking on behalf of the brands, for building the brand awareness, for better interaction with their users and customers, as well as for building new revenue streams. So just imagine, for example, the scenario of Lacoste. Basically, they are using NFTs for this cross-sell effect, because the boost of NFTs and these e-commerce marketing solutions just helps them to actually sell these physical stuff, and the revenue streams for them is, I would say, pretty huge right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe also I can react to this one. I would say at the moment it's just a marketing gimmick for most of the companies. but in the future you will see whoever's got their IPs in the NFT game, and with the rise of, as was said, virtual worlds and so-called bad word right now, metaverse, we'll see the companies, they will be the first on the line and get their IPs done right at the beginning. They will thrive in the future. So for sure, there's a lot of things, but the utility is not really here at the moment. I would say the companies and brands try to get closer to the younger generation, Generation Z, with doing NFTs that are really just a collector item right now, but I think they will be usable in upcoming years with the improvements of software and hardware alike.
Yeah, so one more really good use case for companies and brands would be like for subscription model or some kind of VIP model. So you can make your customers a VIP NFT, and they are the only ones who can get this limited edition. So they are more connected to the brand. They are more aware of this connection between the brand and the user. This is one good tool.
Thank you, David. So now the value of NFT is boosted, and value of other content of the issuer of NFT. What are the best practices to sell self-created NFTs, and is the purchase power of local market sufficient? Slavomír.
Well, again, just from my angle, it's a bit of a wizardry. Like, you have to consider a lot of factors, because at the end you are creating items, and I think this was kind of an unsaid message whose value is carried by faith. If there is no faith in the value can drop immediately and dramatically. Already usually tied to a cryptocurrency, which also has its own specific value building and value holding and value establishing strategies. So yeah, it's a very, very difficult and open field. And on the other hand, it's not so different from, let's say, the stock market or the commodity market. So yeah, it's a lot of analysis with a bit of magic and a component of hope, and that's how it works. Despite all these anchors in the real world and anchors in functionality, if a couple of things moves in a certain direction, like a better product in terms of metaverse or gaming emerging, all the users and gamers shifting from one game to another game, trying to sell all their NFTs at once, then you can have a €1,000 worth gaming item worth €10 fiat converted value or on another day, and vice versa as well. So this is, yeah, it has its mechanics, but it's also shifting very dynamically.
I really love your answer, actually, and I will steal it. I really love, as you said, that it's a mix of a little bit of analysis, a little bit of magic, and a little bit of hope. I really love it. I think it really depends on the interaction with community you already have, and it really depends on marketing, which is like answer for you.
Yeah, so I partially agree, I would say. But what really differentiates the brands that are good and doing well in the industry is the community, as was said. So it's just the added value, it's just everything that revolves around it. So we see why won't you buy some not branded stuff? Why you do buy branded stuff? Because you want to touch the success of the company by the end of the day. The Gucci shirt is basically 100% cotton as the shirt you buy in I don't know, H&M, for example. But most of the people would like to wear the Gucci shirt, and they're willing to pay for it. So it's the community, it's the everything that you build around the asset. It's totally the same. I think that we are making a mistake. Also, the people in the industry, I think that we are doing a lot of distinction between physical assets and these digital assets. They're all the same. And in 10 years, you won't see the difference at all. I think it will be the outlook of the NFTs will totally shift from being, this is technology, I want to flip it, I want to make some money on top of it. I don't really understand it, right? What can I do with it? But when the utilities will come to the industry, I think the society will shift to its straightforward, normal stuff, and I'm willing to pay for it. What's the market price?
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. So the community, and I just one thing to add, there was some NFT collections which buyers or users was like kind of a religion, guys. They was like hyping, they was really believing. So the really successful NFT collections was where they created a vibe and like a real good community where they really just supported and believed in. So they speculated it will go up forever, but then it not. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add, it's not only about having a community, it's about knowing your community basically, and knowing what community you want to approach with your NFT project, because we've had to deal with this brand of DM Drugistry, which actually has this community of women with little babies, basically, you know, and they wanted to prepare a crypto project for them, like NFT collection, and they were not sure of how to handle the community like this, because they were prepared to communicate with them as them being, for example, Web3 deacons, you know, like crypto native people, but it's not possible to talk with these kind of community as DM Drugistry have, like them being, you know, Web3 community. So it's important to actually know who you are communicating with and who you want to approach with your project.
All right, so well, let's say we've done everything correctly with the marketing, with the sales. Everything is legal with this sale, and we sold an NFT. How do we account for the sale of this NFT, and how do I tax it? Robert, over to you.
Thank you. It differs if you own this NFT like individual person or company. So if you're a company, you need to account it for NFTs. And it differs if your strategy, investing strategy, is to hold this NFT or hold and then sell after 1 year, or you are trying to sell it immediately, or you are using it for another purposes. So this is about how we can compare the other assets to NFT. So it may be if you want to hold and have this NFT longer than 1 year, you look at this NFT like it is non-current intangible asset. And if your strategy is to sell it immediately or in a few days or a few months, you look at this asset like it is a stock for you, and this is about the accounting point of view. But for natural person, it also depends if this NFT is something like collectible NFT, or you want to only have this NFT and you sell it. Occasionally. It is not your business. So in this case, in terms of Slovak taxation, it is something like the other income. When you don't find this type of income in the act of taxation, you need to tax it like the other income. And other income, this is crazy because for these incomes you also we have two rates for taxation. And also, in this case, this income is also the not only you need to pay the tax, but also it is the subject for social and health care insurance. So this is in this case when you occasionally sell these assets. So, but if you want to do some business activities with this NFTs. It is different type, and you can also apply, or you can deduct the tax base by costs which you have in the terms of issuing the NFT or buying this NFT. But in the first case, if you do only occasionally the selling of NFT, you don't have such possibilities. So it is very shortly how it works.
Thank you for the introduction to the accounting and tax aspects of selling the NFTs. My next question is for everyone. I ask for your idea. Does NFT issuance present any risk from a marketing or PR perspective for the issuer? Anyone who wants to answer?
I would say it's a great idea. Go ahead with the insurance.
No. Issuance, NFT issuance.
Oh, issuance.
Excuse me.
I was thinking of insurance, but don't take my idea, please. Insurance is a really great thing. Maybe we can talk about it later. But issuance, what was the question?
Does NFT issuance present any risk for marketing and from a marketing and PR?
Yeah, it depends who you are, what kind of company you're running. I think NFTs right now works mostly as a marketing tool at the moment. For most of the companies, I'm not talking only about Web3. Web3 is a totally different utility. Also, gaming is totally different utility. There's real reason there for making or issuing the NFT. For the big companies or banks or doing, I was last week on Prague Blockchain Week, I was talking about Metaverse, and I was sitting with one guy on a panel that did in Decentraland, the Tatra Banka, they did their office there, basically, talking about it was pretty good success. So Tatra Banka as a innovative leader in banking is for me is the right way to connect with this kind of NFTs, new technology is the right fit in the banking sector. But for example, if I don't know, Slovenská sporiteľňa did something like that, I wouldn't, maybe it doesn't really connect to their audience, right? So at the moment, I think it really it's based upon who's your target group, and if you are going for technology for the younger generation, I would say go with it. Also, the insurance is still open topic, so I would go with it too.
Yes, because we were talking about benefits from PR and marketing perspective, but I was asking whether we can think about some examples of risk or examples where the issuance of NFT can harm your brand or company. So.
Yeah, just one mention. There was, I don't know the exact name, but it was an American rapper. So he was issuing, I think, 5,000 NFTs of his collection, and I think 7 of them was sold. So it was like a crazy bad reputation and marketing for him, because like people was lauding of him that, okay, he wanted to make like millions of dollars, then he made like 250 or something. So yeah, in this case, it's a really bad marketing. It can be. So the thing, you have to plan like a Web2 marketing plan. So if you do it correctly and you measure the numbers correctly, then it's good.
All right. So if nobody,
yeah, I think that's pretty much yeah. It also is something where flexibility, I think, is very required, because the attitudes and how NFTs are seen change quite rapidly, and yeah, generally if the NFT issue is seen as a cash grab and the value not matching whatever is being released, and the market attitude is bad, it can be the worst thing to do, definitely. But when done smartly, it's good. So again, knowledge, expertise, and the right right way of doing it is key there. It can be both.
Correct. So nothing to lose motto won't apply here. Definitely, there is always at least a reputation to lose if you if you have some. But we can
Problem here.
we can agree that the benefits outweighs the risk here. So what, in your opinion, hinders the broader adoption of NFTs in our region, let's say the V4 region?
Well, I would start with a very simple thing, which is the evangelization of the market, like potential target groups who might totally be interested in owning an NFT may not even know properly about its existence, about what it means. If they knew, they might be interested. And also then there is this relatively steep requirement of all the registrations and understanding the markets, setting up a wallet. So in terms of the process of obtaining an NFT, I think this is definitely not maybe the only, but one of the at the moment still prevalent barriers which slow down the potential adoption.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree that the lack of education and evangelization, as you said it, is the biggest issue right now, because a lot of people is scared of NFTs because there is a lot of jokes of what NFTs are, what can they be, and what are the risks connected to it. And I think the second aspect to it is that if we want some mass adoption of NFTs and these crypto projects and so on, we need to start slow. So basically at the beginning, we need to build the projects which look at the front end as any other eShop solution, for example, I would say, because if we want mass adoption, we just don't, we can't approach only Web3 people. We need to approach the layman people, So we need to start with making them being able to actually buy the NFTs with credit cards, and so on. We need to make them feel secure when actually buying NFTs and using them. So I would definitely start with making it as slow as possible and start at the beginning.
Yeah, I would say that for any new technology or something new that's being developed, there needs to be one product that will bring it to the masses. As it was with, for example, hardware was iPhone, the first basically massively used smartphone was the iPhone, the first one. Before there was some smartphone, Blackberries, everything, everybody rolling around. It was really made for tech geeks at the moment. But with the iPhone, it was so easy to use. It gained a lot of popularity. Maybe the next example is also social media. First, it was used. We had MySpace, ICQ, etc. But when the Facebook came, everybody get on Facebook, right? Also your grandma probably has a Facebook. So it's a normalization of the technology. And this is also with the NFT. So NFT is just some part of a really good product. And I would say when the really good game will come, I think, as I was saying, I'm totally biased, so don't take my word for it, because we are working on a game. But when really one good game will come and it will utilize the NFT technology as it should be, I think that will be the first step to mass adoption on NFT market.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can just agree. So there's, I think, three big things. Like it have to be really user friendly. So who is like buying and selling NFTs, it have to be so normal. So it's like now you are buying a voucher, buying a ticket. It will be like this in the future years, hopefully. The other is the regulation and legislation they mentioned. So if we get a real good crypto Web3 hub that will include this legislation, and as they mentioned, the flagship. And my bet is really on the real estate tokenization, because in the first question, all of us said the main core element of the NFT is the proof of ownership. And I think everyone can connect and relate with their real estate where they live. They are the owner of these assets. And when you make it more transparent and you can prove anyone, any moment that you are the owner of these assets, you can trade it it will be something that if it's boom, then it will be huge. So my bet is on the real estate tokenization. That will be the flagship, hopefully.
Thank you. So I think we covered everything important for artists that are looking to showcase their work, or collectors that are exploring new digital assets, or just curious observers fascinated by the intersection of art and technology. I want to thank our panelists for their expertise and passion that have enriched our discussion. And for those who are interested in more details, stay tuned on our website and on our social media accounts, and we will publish the ebook addressing this and some more topics in more detail. Thank you for joining. Of course, there are some questions from Slido. First, we can't see them, so I will read it. First question, how does it look from the auditor tax side with currencies in-game? Let's say that by playing a game I earned their currency and I sold the currency for 100 euros. Robert, over to you.
Cryptocurrencies, there is a special way for accounting, but I need to know if this transaction was made by a natural person or a company, so it depends.
Right, so
I would add, so I know just the Hungarian law, so until you have crypto, you don't have to pay tax. So if you earned some kind of tokens or something from the game, you don't have to. But in the time when you are converting it to fiat, at that moment, you will be, you have to tax it, and in our country, it's the personal tax, it's around 15%.
In our country, if you have the cryptocurrency and you change the cryptocurrency, not to fiat, but between Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, it's also the moment for taxation. So.
All right, I think this question is answered. The second question is, do you have any idea about the amount invested by local consumers into digital assets / NFTs apart from the assets used in games? Well, which assets are not used in games? So let's say our digitalized tree, it can be used in games, so it's hard to divide the assets.
Yeah, so from that point of view, that's the beauty basically of the NFT, that an NFT can be issued with no utility whatsoever, just as a single-purpose collectible item. But any function, any usability, any inclusion can follow afterwards. So yeah, in that terms, the tree, which would be issued as an NFT in Q3, then could be picked up by a game or a metaverse and included as a metaverse item. Yeah, so that definitely applies.
So I don't think that we are really able to answer this question precisely. Perhaps if anyone knows some example of some high-value NFT being sold in this area and not being used in a game afterwards.
I think it's really hard also to tie NFT ownership and all these to an area. Like sometimes it is clear, but sometimes it is not clear. It's in a market where aerial ownership is not necessarily an automatically known parameter.
I think we can answer this question in more detail. Third question is, which metaverses are better than the other ones and why? In the long term, 10 plus years, where is the usage of metaverse lands like Decentraland or Pavia?
Well, I think the answer to that question is worth maybe $1 billion. Like, if you know which metaverse is better than the other one, then yeah, go for it and buy stocks. I can't answer that, but yeah, it's. I think the only thing to add is to look for size, credibility, and usability. Like metaverse is the next bubble, obviously, but there will be winners of that bubble, and yeah, again, it's looking for the small details and seeing which can take over. Like things in this field change rapidly. Like Fortnite, for example, was a game which worked totally perfectly, looked like a ruler for a time. Then PUBG, another sort of similar game, came and changed the situation and relations. So it's really very difficult to say, difficult to predict, and also something subject to change over relatively fast periods of time.
Maybe I could jump to this one. So the projects in the Web3, they are building them so-called metaverse, let's say, sandbox, decentralized. In my opinion, I wouldn't waste the time on these projects at all. But if you take a look at probably the biggest developer of the engine and the house that brings tool to the developers and people, like general common people, it's Epic Games for sure. They set the standard. They have the engine. They are also developer of the Fortnite. And Fortnite went from being a game that nobody played. Basically, it's called Fortnite. Players need to build furnitures and protect themselves against the waves of enemies. It totally changed with the addition of one game mode. So the game totally changed. And it went from highly competitive game to a super common game. It's a social game by now. They changed their narrative and they target group like 4 times. And what we see right now, Epic Games built different kind of tool sets for common people to use to bring their visions to life without not that much technical knowledge. In 5 years or 2 years, probably you will be able to do your own virtual world. You will be able to do your own kind of adventure very easy with only Unreal Engine. So I think Epic Games is the best bet at the moment, not the financial advice.
Thank you.
Yes, sure. Yeah, my suggestion would be just follow Apple. They just took out a headset, a VR headset, like 10 days ago, and it's like their first new product since 10 years. So they have a vision, and I am pretty sure they're already working on something. So I think which metaverse, I think it's not out yet, but it will be related to Apple. I'm pretty sure.
Thank you. The next...
No, half.
All right, the next question is really similar. I will skip this one. I apologize if I disappoint somebody that I prioritize another question. And the last question is, can digital scan of physical assets stored as NFT provide solid proof of originality of the asset? Can the technology distinguish it from copies?
Yes, it can. If we're talking other methods of creation, it definitely can. Like a scan will always be technologically provable to be an authentic scan versus an art which is created by hand, even if it's super detailed. There are techniques. Of course, if you repeat the scan and have 2 identical scans, which is theoretically possible, then you run into the utmost limit. Then no, then it is 2 really similar pieces of data. But still then, which is a good topic, if one scan was minted as an NFT and has a blockchain trail and everything, then this is actually the proof that this is the original scan. So in our terms, if we would have a scan of a Nürburgring 24 hours race winner and minted on a blockchain, and a part of the blockchain is the certification given by the team, then you could come up with a identical scan or even stolen data, and still you would have the proof through the additional NFT qualities.
Yeah, this is basically what NFT technology is solving, right? So you see transparently who is the issuer, you see the original of the contract. Whatever contract is the original, that's the original one. Easy as that.
I think the question is answered by design of the technology. All right, so thank everyone for joining us, and we hope that this discussion will help you on your journey into the world of NFTs. Once again, thanks to our panelists, and we will proceed with announcing the winner of the Ideathon, which was also the part of All About NFT project. So Jan, David, and Robert, thank you. We will stay here with Slavomír Slavomír is one of the judges, and I'm looking whether we have our participants here. All right, so I think we can proceed with announcing the winner, and the winner is Pauser Studio. I am looking for there we go. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. There we go. Slavomír, you want to go for a copy? And also another, we have one more referee there, Mr. Hronček. Thank you. And one more picture, excuse me, with the third referee. Thank you. Tom, do you want to say something about your idea and your... Really quickly, thank you.
Hello, thank you. The idea behind it was the augmented reality application combined with utility of gamification for users. So basically, people will be able to collect some augmented reality things through the exhibitions, through the festivals, through the outdoor spaces. So we want to combine the physical and digital things together, which I think it's on the rise now with the Vision Pro and all those things around the augmented reality. So yeah, that's it.
All right, and the winner will be awarded with the unique minted NFT from the tree that we showed previously, and with the brief legal due diligence of the winning project. In this case, as you already mentioned, the users will get some NFTs, collecting those NFTs, and they will be stored probably on some internal account or wallet, and then they can be transferred to the user's wallet. So this can be qualified as custody of crypto assets, and this will probably, or we will see when we will analyze this project whether it will fall about the new MiCA regulation of crypto assets, and there also will be some more aspects that we will analyze in our legal due diligence. Thank you for your participation, Tom.
Thank you as well.
Congratulations.
Ještě tamhle pro nás. Ještě tamhle pro nás.